What up, everybody? Mm, YouTube live. Wow, it's been a while, huh? Since the last time I did this live stream. By the way, busy week this week. Sundance is happening tomorrow, I believe. Um, I'm not gonna be there, obviously. I don't like the cold that much. I can go to the cold. I can go up to the mountains, the snow, but only up to 5 hours. Past 5 hours of snow, I get cranky. So good luck to those my fellow entertainment journalists and fellow film critics that will be at Sundance starting tomorrow. Tomorrow is also the premiere of Star Trek Picard, so I'll be giving you starting tomorrow my weekly live review of Star Trek Picard episodes. Oh, I'm so excited! I love Picard, man. He's my favorite Star Trek captain ever. Um, what else? Tomorrow is also the red carpet premiere of Birds of Prey. So you'll be getting a lot of like the first reactions of that new movie, Birds of Prey, starting tomorrow evening, because the red carpet is happening tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd. I think it's in downtown Hollywood. Um, but tonight there's this big news. It just broke, I think, on the Hollywood Reporter. So let me get to that real quick. So if you are fans of last year's Captain Marvel movie, I'm sure you'll be very stoked at this info. So the Hollywood Reporter said, well, I'm just gonna not verbatim say it to you guys, just paraphrasing here, but basically, Captain Marvel sequel is officially happening, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the journalist Boris Skid. And Marvel Studios has hired a screenwriter by the name of Megan McDonnell. Now, Megan McDonnell is part of the team of writers behind Marvel Studios' new upcoming series, WandaVision. WandaVision is coming to Disney Plus. Disney Plus is this digital streaming service. And WandaVision, as you know, is the show about Scarlet Witch and the Vision. You've seen the first images, I believe, back at D23 Expo last year. The show was supposed to come out next year, 2021, but then Disney Plus is like, hey, fooled you. We're going to release it this year instead. So I don't know, man. Just real quick, it feels, I know that nobody really ever dies in science fiction or comic book superhero world. People can always get resurrected, but it really downplays or minimizes the impact of their death the first time if you're just gonna bring him back again anyway. Like Phil Coulson, he got murdered by Loki in the Avengers 2012 movie, only to be resurrected. Just kidding, you guys. We're gonna bring Phil Coulson back because we have this Agents of Shield series. The same thing with this. The Vision was like, oh yeah, the Vision in the Infinity War died. Psh, what died? He didn't die. Um, so anyway, I digress. So Megan McDonnell is the screenwriter, or one of the screenwriters, or one of the members of the team of writers for WandaVision, and she got hired to provide the script for Captain Marvel 2. Now, last year's movie, Captain Marvel, was directed by a team, two people, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. And they were among the many, 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 many writers of that script. Captain Marvel script or screenplay moved from one scribe to the next, and Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck were among that concoction, if you will. So, and the story was set in the 1990s. And then the film went on to bank about $1.12 billion at the box office worldwide. Now, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, they have decided to not return to direct the sequel. So there's no announcement yet on who will direct this Captain Marvel 2. But Hollywood Reporter went on to say that Bowden and Fleck may not be returning to direct Captain Marvel 2, but they are still going to be potentially directing a Marvel Studios series for Disney Plus. Now, which project that is remains under wraps. So, as you know, Marvel Studios is bringing us what? The Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, right? And then WandaVision series. Um, what else? What else? The Marvel series that they're bringing us? I can't remember right now on the top of my head. So they're gonna be around, right? They're not exiting Marvel Cinematic Universe just yet. But they're not gonna be directing Captain Marvel 2. That director has not been hired yet. So the update is that Captain Marvel 2 is officially happening, and the screenwriter is Megan McDonnell. But as far as the director goes, other reports on Twitter saying that Marvel Studios is looking to hire a female director for this job, for this gig. And I got no problem with that. I have no problem with that. So that's cool. After all, this is a girl power movie anyway. So a female director will be very, very fitting. Um, another thing is that the story will be set in the present day, which makes sense because um, Captain Marvel was part of the storylines of Avengers Endgame, right? Avengers Endgame, the whole thing with the 5 years of 5 years has gone by, and then they went back in time to reverse the whole thing. You've seen the movie, right? You've seen the movie, and then she showed up right at the very end, like the giant eagles at the end of The Hobbit, and right in the nick of time when everybody's like, "Oh, hanging by the balance," like no, and then she just swoops in and helps out, because that's how she rolls. So it doesn't make sense if the story, like going back to origin, or we already tackled that. So now the story moves forward and it will be set in the present day, and yeah, that's very reasonable. So that's another addition fact for you guys. Now, um I just want to give you a few of my thoughts about the first movie last year. You already saw my video review of Captain Marvel, right? Last year. um I want to make, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm gonna walk back on some of my comments in that video. Not a lot of it, all right, not too much. But because here's the thing. The first night that I screened Captain Marvel at, thanks to Disney, of course, Captain Marvel screening. Right after the screening ended, I was hyped. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! This movie was awesome!" It's one of those things. It's one of those experiences where after you go through it again the second time, after you have a second time viewing, you start noticing like, "Oh, this movie's actually flawed." Um, so, and the first time viewing it, it was like, I don't know, it was like a fandom thing, like one of those moments where like, "Oh, I'm just so happy that Captain Marvel gets her own movie, and I'm happy I'm watching it early," and so all this mix of these feelings, and I was not really wisely judging the movie for its merit objectively, because all these euphoria was rushing in. And then I watched it again the second time, and then the third time again later on that year, and I came to the conclusion, even though my review, if you watch my video review, I was giving it glowing praises and whatnot, with minor criticisms. Looking back, the movie wasn't all that great. I'm sorry. He wasn't all that great. Okay, here's another example. Man of Steel, 2013. After watching, the first night watching Man of Steel at the screening, I was like, "Oh my god, Henry Cavill looks so amazing. He's so buff for Superman." I'm the biggest Superman fan there is, right? Big fan of Superman ever since I could remember. So I was like, I was on cloud nine that, oh, we brought back Superman again, and he looks awesome. And oh, look at that fight scene in the mid air with General Zod. You know, it's like, oh, I don't care if he kills Zod. This movie's awesome. And then second and third viewing of Man of Steel, I'm like, oh. Yeah, I was too much fangirling there. I was way too fangirling in my first reaction or review of Man of Steel. I should have viewed it more objectively. So back to Captain Marvel, it's like that. I come to the conclusion now that the movie wasn't all that great. It was not bad. It was not shitty. Um, but it could have been better. Well, for one, I'm sure you'd agree with me. None of the action sequences in Captain Marvel were all that memorable, with the exception probably that one scene where she's glowing up in the outer space, right? Just like shooting laser from her eyes and whatever from her hands. That was awesome, but the rest were not that great. That scene that they keep showing in the trailers and the previews of her jumping on the train, and then beating up the grandma. Of course, that is actually exactly grandma. That whole sequence wasn't all that great, and the sequence with Jude Law in the end, like that's also one of the things that kind of bums me out about the movies. Like, the hero or the protagonist is only as great as the villain. And Jude Law was just not that great a villain. He's a great actor, don't get me wrong, but the material that was written for him, I know it could have been better. It could have been better. The role could have been better. The sequences could have been better. How it play out could have been better. Um, so looking back, yeah, as an action movie, it was not as great as the hype. Um, Another thing also, I think I mentioned this also in my review of how I criticize Brie Larson's lack of range um, in her performance. Now, a lot of people would be like jumping, like, "Oh my God, Rama, you're sexist! Like, you wouldn't say that about a man. If it was a man, you would say no, no. I would say that about a man too. Excuse me. If if the man is not showing emotional, because I mentioned to you guys many, many times that cinema lives and breathes right here in this frame. We're not talking about stage play or theater Broadway where your whole body movement, you're projecting from the diaphragm matters. No, cinema lives and breathes right here, man. Um, your reaction to your co-stars or your opposing characters they matter in cinema. And so I was not getting that from Brie Larson almost the entire time. Actually, there was a heartfelt moment that she had with her friend. Let me look up her friend's name again. She's gonna be in the new James Bond movie, by the way. Lashana Lynch, Maria Rambo. Yeah, there's that heartfelt moment, and Lashana did way better in that moment than Brie Larson. Or you can argue like, hey, Brie Larson, the character is a Cree, and she grew up, or she's programmed to be a soldier and tough, so she's not showing emotions. Yeah. But really, you got to be all that robotic. And if that was a man, I would criticize the same too. That's the same thing I would say about Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen in the Star Wars movies, the prequels. The lack of his emotional range because he's a terrible actor. Like I criticize him. Now Brie Larson is not that same level. She's actually a great actress. She won an Oscar. So it really bums me out that this woman, this actress, she has what it takes to be better than that, and she doesn't. And for that movie, she did not go there. It really like, oh, why Brie Larson? Why didn't you go there? It's just like, oh, that one note face the entire time. And I would say that about a man too. Okay, so it's not a sexist thing. So combination of that and the story and the action and the whole thing being not too memorable, as I mentioned earlier. Um, Another thing also, they bombarded us with the 1990s. I grew up in the 1990s, man. All right, I'm a millennial, so I grew up in the mid late '80s and the entire '90s. That's basically my childhood, my teenhood, um, my adolescence. I I love the nostalgia that the movie had, but damn, that movie was like, oh, here's Blockbuster. Oh, here's a I don't know, rollerblade Tamagotchi. They keep bombarding. It's like, oh, to the point where like I get it, I get it. The story set in the '90s. I get it, man. Yeah, the phone booth, the pager. I get it. You don't have to keep reminding us that. Oh, here, look. Oh, look. What would you have here? Another item from the '90s. Like, chill out, cool down. Okay, you've shown us the Blockbuster. You don't have to keep regurgitate or like keep bringing up like, oh, the story is set in the '90s. We get it. So there's that as well. And so I'm sure I can think of some more criticisms right now. But I mean, right now I don't remember it on the top of my head. But those are just some examples of why the movie wasn't all that great. It was not all that great. It could have been better. And I hope Megan, let me get the name again. I hope Megan McDonald um, could do better, and in her writing the story. Let me rephrase that. I hope Megan McDonald would provide a much more exciting story, more action packed, more elaborate sequences. um, if she wants to throw in the girl power thing again, I don't mind it at all. Obviously, that's part of the DNA of Captain Marvel. So that's all cool. But please, please, please learn from the mistakes that the first movie did. Don't do the same mistakes, but learn from it and try to come up with a fresher, more thrilling way to go about this character, because this character is actually pretty awesome. And Brie Larson is actually an awesome actress. We know that she could do better than what she did in the first movie. So, and I hope Megan McDonald provides that story, that material for her. And we'll see who they will hire to direct Captain Marvel 2, because that also is is a strong factor on whether or not this movie is going to be good. So yeah, that's the news today. Just want to share with you guys before I head out again. I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow, live streaming my review of the first episode of Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. What do you guys think about today's news about Captain Marvel 2 officially happening and that the story is set in present day? Did you like the first movie, Captain Marvel, last year, or did you not like it? What did you not like about it? If you have criticism about it, or what do you hope? What is your wish list? What is your wish list for Captain Marvel 2? Share them all. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button. And if you can help support me, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. Whoop.